What is up, everybody? It is Dadbod here once again with my Sekiro Shadows Die Twice completionist walkthrough. As with my other completionist walkthroughs on the channel, this is pretty much a comprehensive end-to-end guide for the whole game. This is one of my favorite games. It is another treasure from Software, and of course Miyazaki, who is responsible for Dark Souls and Bloodborne and all of these other games that have made such a mark on games in the last decade or so. So can't wait to go through this with you guys. I actually have another version of this completionist walkthrough, which is a completely separate playthrough that is available without commentary. This one is going to be with full commentary, so if you prefer to watch a walkthrough of this game without me ranting the whole time, that is available as well. But otherwise, if you would like to continue with full commentary and get the full experience of the game from beginning to end, then this is your place. So, without further ado, let us dive in.
In the closing years of the Sengoku era, Japan was consumed by perpetual conflict. The fires of war raged on, spreading deep into the mountains, to the land of Ashina.
Is the war finally over? General Tamura is no more!
Master swordsman Isshin Ashina staged a bloody coup and wrested control of the land.
What's the matter, Stray? Nothing left to lose? Well, would you look at that? Fascinating. Will you join me, Starving Wolf?
On that day, a young cub was taken from the battlefield. He trained relentlessly, and indeed, went on to become a master shinobi.
Listen, Wolf. You must never forget the Shinobi Code. As your father, my word is absolute. Your master's is a close second. As of today, he is your master. Defend him with your life. If he is taken, bring him back at any cost. You understand me, don't you, Wolf?
Some 20 years after Isshin's coup, the Ashina clan was on the brink of collapse. And the shinobi, known as Wolf, had lost everything. Both the man who took him in and the boy he had sworn to protect.
Shinobi, open your eyes. For the sake of your master.
All right, so here we are. So that opening cutscene was pretty much some backstory. As it said, a person, Isshin Ashina, led a coup to basically take over the land, and this land is now referred to as Ashina. The story pretty much takes place in ancient Japan. And we are the title character. We are Sekiro, however you want to pronounce it. I'm not exactly quite sure. But anyway, that's who we are. And you can see we're stuck at the bottom of this well. We have been captured. We're not in a good spot right now. And we have this item in front of us. So let's check it out. It is the ornamental letter dropped by the mysterious woman in that cutscene. And it says, Kuro's Wolf, your destiny awaits you at the Moonview Tower. Escape from the well and find the tower bathed in moonlight. Even without a blade, you can reach it. Stay silent, stay vigilant. So that is our first mission in this game. So a little bit about this game. It is very difficult. It will take some patience, but it is worth every bit of effort you put into it. Pretty much your standard set of moves. As in typical From Software fashion, you start without a weapon, of course. In this game, you can swim, actually, which is I believe, somewhat of a unique feature in this game compared to other From Software titles. You see an item up there. We actually can't get there yet, but we're going to come back for it later. Also in this game, you can jump, which is a new feature as well, and it actually adds some pretty compelling exploration capabilities in this game that make it a lot of fun, in my opinion. You can also double jump. If you jump next to a wall, you can press jump again and you'll double jump. So we find ourselves right now in the Ashina Reservoir, which is outside of the castle. You can see that right in front of us is Ashina Castle. And in that cutscene, the opening cutscene, and by the way, when you get next to the wall and you see these little marks, you can hug the wall and scoot across a ledge. So in that cutscene, we were an orphan on a battlefield, and then you could see that there. You saw that man with the long sword came up to us and basically adopted us as his child, and pretty much took us under his wing. His name is Owl, and so he gave us a couple directives, and here we go. So one of the things about this game is stealth. Stealth is very important. You can choose to play this game rather stealthily. I choose to play under stealth as much as possible. You can choose not to. It depends on your play style, but I find it's a ninja game pretty much, so playing under stealth makes some more sense. So this is just a tutorial explaining how it works, and you can see...
Shinobi at the bottom of the well. We didn't shackle him, restrain him, nothing. That doesn't worry anybody?
Not at all. Not only is he unarmed, he has completely lost his will to live. Nothing but a coward. Unworthy of our concern.
So obviously they were talking about us. And you see this high brush. If you actually crouch, you press the L3 button to crouch. As long as you stay in this brush, they're not going to be able to see us. So we can kind of sneak along here. Going back to what I was saying about the opening cutscene. So Owl, our adoptive father, gave us kind of two main directives. One, first and foremost, was to obey him. And then second of all was to obey our Lord. So our Lord is Kuro. If you remember that ornamental letter we read back in the well, that's who we're on our way to try and rescue. Another thing about this game is if you sneak up on people when they're having a conversation, you can actually eavesdrop on them. So let's see what these people have to say.
The moonlight shines strongly on the Moonview Tower tonight. The Divine Heir is probably using the light for his reading again.
Probably, but imprisoning a mere child. I feel sorry for the boy.
Agreed. But I'm sure Lord Genichiro has his reasons.
Alrighty, so continue on through this hole and some more underbrush. So you can see, if you look over here, there's an enemy right there, and there's a couple enemies over here, and of course those guys. So if you're not under the cover of stealth, they're going to find you out. So it's best that you try to sneak past. So another mechanic of this game is you can actually hang from ledges. So when you see this kind of scratchy surface, generally means you can drop down and hang and shimmy across. So again, this is really just the tutorial stage, and they're just trying to throw all the mechanics at you so you can get at least a basic grasp of how they all work. So let us jump up here, and this is the tower that we're making our way to, and we have a secret little entrance to the side. So let's jump up. That is our Lord Kuro.
You did well to come here. It's been too long, Wolf.
I've come to free you, my lord.
Well then. Raise your head. Kusabimaru, your sword. My shinobi. In accordance with the bond of Lord and Retainer, you will pledge your life in my service.
As you command.
All right, so we have our sword, and this is a katana given by Kuro, the divine heir and heirloom of the Hirata family, a cadet branch descended from Ashina. Once thought lost, it has found its way back into the hands of the wolf. The name Kusabimaru beseeches a shinobi's role is to kill, but even a shinobi must not forget mercy. A mantra the blade itself may manifest. All right, let's talk to him again.
Loyal Wolf, I see you are wounded. I have something that may help. It is a special gourd of medicinal waters. Use it to heal your wounds.
All right, we have the healing gourd, made by the apprentice of the extraordinary Dr. Dogen. Though it is strange that the gourd's medicinal waters refill automatically, the seeds within may hold the secret to how it works.
My lord.
Now then, were you gravely injured? Afterward?
After what?
Do you not remember that night?
I do not.
No. We'll talk about it later. Right now, we must escape Ashina Castle.
As you say.
There's a secret passage beneath the moat bridge that will take us out of the castle. Lord Ishin told me about it once. I ask you to find that secret passage. Once you find it, signal me with a reed whistle. You know, like you used to long ago. I will join you as soon as I hear it.
Okay, so now we have our healing gourd, and this is just a tutorial for equipping and using items. Let's go upstairs real quick, and there's another item for us, which is a pellet. They slowly restore health, a secret treatment passed down for generations in these lands. Records say it has been used in battle since times long gone and lent to the famed resilience of Ashino warriors. A pill case full of these pellets would also serve as a battle charm. Okay, so let's get into items and equipment and all that. So you press the options button, and then it takes you to the menu. And this game, unlike other From Software titles, has a true pause menu. So if you access this menu, the game is paused, and you can't be attacked or messed with in any way. So let's go ahead and set up our items. So we currently have the healing gourd, the pellet, and the homeward idol. We'll get into how the homeward idol works later, but let's go ahead and equip our healing gourd and our pellets. Which pellets basically equip a temporary regen effect. Like the healing gourd will restore a significant portion of your health immediately, whereas the pellets slowly regenerate your health over time. So that's the difference between the two. And your healing gourd restores when you rest. It refills when you rest, and your pellets are a true consumable. So let's see over here. You can look at your inventory menu. Right now we just have these three, and then options. Pretty much just your controller setup and everything else. One thing I do like to point out is with my controller configuration, I do change some of the button mapping slightly. I change it so triangle is my use item button instead of the up button, the up on the D-pad button. And the reason for that is because I like to be able to use my items in stride without having to let go of the control stick and just to press the D-pad. And so I assign the up button on the D-pad to cycle my prosthetic tool. That's the only change I make. Kind of makes it similar to how I play Souls or Bloodborne, having triangle basically be my heal button. That makes more sense to me, so I do change that. And that might be helpful to you as well. This game, there are a lot of similarities to the Souls games and Bloodborne and whatnot. There's also some differences. We'll kind of get into those as the game goes along. One of the big differences that I think actually is that this game expounds more of the lore via cutscenes and dialogue. And another one of those differences is the death blow system. So you can actually, if you sneak up on people, you can actually one-hit kill them from behind without them even noticing you. And so this kind of gives you the quick tutorial on the death blows. You can get a death blow by sneaking up on somebody, or you can get a death blow by breaking their posture. For normal enemies, a death blow is a one-hit kill. So that's pretty interesting. So let's sneak up on this guy, and I'll show you how the death blows work. So sneak up behind him, press R1, then you get a death blow. This guy actually noticed me, so he's going to come fight me. There we go. We'll get this guy and then let him come up. So you can see before, you noticed we had just a sliver of health. When we respawned there, I actually have a full health bar now. So that actually helps out quite a bit, since I'm not going off of limited health and I have my healing gourd usage. Otherwise, you can heal yourself and get more health at the beginning, but then you lose your healing gourd. Let's see. So one of the things that is different, as I was saying before, is that this game does have more cutscenes and dialogue. There is still a lot of lore that is kind of hidden deep beneath that you have to do a bit more of digging to find. But the story is a bit more apparent in this game than in some of the other From Software games. All right, so another big piece of the combat system is deflection. I'd argue deflection is every bit as important as attacking. So in this game, you can either kill people via health or you can kill them by breaking their posture. So deflection is generally how you break their posture. Hitting people does do posture damage as well, but deflection does a considerable amount of posture damage. So it has to be considered when in combat. So this is a guy where Generally, he will get a hit on us if we just try to mash the attack button. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to hit him, and then he's going to attack us, and I'm going to do a deflect by pressing the L1 button, and that will break his posture, and I'll show you how that works. So we're going to do attack, and then he's going to hit us, and then I just did a deflect, and that's what broke his posture. So generally the guys, if you see he's kind of wearing armor and a hat, generally these guys, they'll get an attack in that you're going to have to deflect, and that's going to be how you have to approach them. Most of the regular guys that just have swords, you can pretty much just mash R1 until you get the death blow, and you can handle them that way. It's really up to you, but you know, these guys will get a shot in, and you're going to have to do a deflect in order to break the posture there. So let's move on forward. We got a couple more guys. This is the tutorial for lock on. So you Souls veterans are going to know that locking on is very important, and I can't re-emphasize that enough, that locking on is pretty crucial. Hit the R3 button and you'll know who you're locked onto by that little white dot that appears in the center. So I'm going to run on up. I'm going to lock onto this guy. He's going to approach me. I'm going to do a charge attack and then just mash R1 and get him. This guy's going to try to hit me, but now I'm just going to mash R1 and get him. And just a little bit about our moves. So R1 is your attack button, and you can either do a quick attack by just tapping it, or you can hold down R1 to do a charge attack. A lot of times with the first attack, I like to do a charge attack just because it, you know, does more damage if I can get it in. And, you know, that's just how I roll usually. It depends on the situation, of course. So here we have a guy with the armor and the hat, so that means we're going to have to do a deflect. Let's lure him in here. So I'm going to hit him twice. He's going to do his hit. I'm going to do a deflect, get him. This guy, he's just normal guy, so I'm just going to mash R1. And that, you can get away with that with these earlier enemies. So we are actually approaching the first mini-boss of the game. So mini-bosses will have at least 2 death blows that you have to go through. So you'll know how many death blows they have by, if you look at the top of their health meter, you'll see there's kind of red dots. Those red dots represent a death blow. And so this gives us a tutorial for the counter slash. So if you do a deflect successfully, you can immediately hit R1 after, and it does basically a counter attack. So this guy, mini bosses do take a bit more work to kill, of course, as you would expect. And this guy, you're going to have to do a bit of deflecting. This is kind of a test, a bigger test than some of those regular enemies on how well you can deflect. And deflection is really all about timing. It's picking up on those visual cues that the enemy gives you, and it's really just, you have to kind of get a feel for the game. It took me a while actually to kind of get that feel, but as you go through and as you take on some more challenges, you will get a better feel for how just kind of the cues the game gives you to know when it's time to deflect. Of course, different enemies have different swords and different fighting styles, so you kind of have to adapt your combat to whatever the enemy gives you. So you'll have to kind of trade off between getting shots in with your own sword and being aggressive, and then also timing those deflects right. And if you don't time the deflects right, you're going to take damage. So let's take this guy on. So we got our first death blow. So you'll see that one of his 2 red dots is gone. He still has 1 left. So this is our tutorial. Some powerful opponents require multiple death blows to be killed. The number of death blows required to kill an enemy is shown by the red circular markers above their vitality bar. Each death blow removes 1 marker. So you'll see the health bar is at the very top left corner. The death blow completely removes the health bar. If you're fighting an enemy and you, let's just say in the course of fighting him, you haven't death blowed him yet, you just completely remove their health bar, then that will actually give you the opportunity to death blow whether you've broken their posture or not. If you break their posture, which is that bar in the top center of the screen, then you can execute a death blow even if they still have health. So you have to either completely deplete their health bar or completely fill their posture bar in order to get the death blow. And in this case, we have to execute 2 death blows to win the fight, and we've gotten 1 of the 2 so far. So let's get the second one. All right. So you can see I'm kind of doing a pattern of 2 shots and then a deflect. And then we got the death blow, and he is done. All right, and we have a pellet for our trouble. So we've got those equipped. The left and right buttons on the D-pad cycle through your equipped items. And so we'll just stay on the healing gourd for now. All right, so let us move forward. So we got a fistful of ash. This acts as kind of a item you can use to stun enemies temporarily. It's like throwing sand in their face, basically. And it gives you a quick opportunity to strike without risk of being hit. So we're just going to explore this area. We just climbed up this ledge, and we need to go up this bridge here. And this gives you the tutorial on how to jump and then ledge hang. So basically you can do a double jump, and then you press square to hang on the ledge. Let's scoot on over, and we see these guys on the bridge. We can actually eavesdrop on their conversation.
Secret passage at the bottom of the moat, under the bridge. We just got orders to guard it.
Security's getting tight. War will be upon us very soon.
So, in this land of Ashina, there is... You can tell it's a bit war-torn already, and there's a threat of another war forthcoming. So you can kind of tell that the soldiers are, buckling down and anticipating another military threat that's going to come upon them. So here we have another guy, and I'm just going to mash R1. He's pretty easy to kill. And got my death blow, and that is that. So when you're standing up, you can actually press square to hang, to drop down and hang, and we want to scooch over to this spot right over here. And circle to drop down, pretty simple. And some more pellets. So we're at 3. And here is our destination. Blow the whistle.
Wolf, you found it. Now let us leave this place.
Yes, my lord.
To think that this is the only way, to run from the fated bloodline, is the only answer. Where shall we go once we're away from the castle? I suppose the first thing we should do is cross the Ashina border. Or perhaps we should hide somewhere. What do you think?
Whatever you desire.
Whatever I desire? That's the wolf I know.
My lord.
Oh, nothing. I was just reminiscing. Onward, then.
Okay, so a little bit about the story. We are fleeing. We're trying to actually get out of Dodge here because obviously they captured me. They captured Sekiro. They captured Kuro, our lord, and we're just trying to escape. The person who captured Kuro is Genichiro. They've referred to him a couple times, and Genichiro is actually the grandson of Ishin. Ishin is the guy in the first cutscene who staged the coup to take over this land to begin with. Now he's old in age. Back then he was much younger and full of vigor. So we are just trying to get out of here. And of course, if we were able to do that and we succeeded in just leaving the land, this would be a very short game. But
the divine heir. Last we stood together was your uncle's funeral.
Lord Genichiro. Thank you.
Leave this to me.
So the noble shinobi stands in our way.
All right. Before we get started, this is basically the tutorial boss. This is a very difficult fight for starters, and you it's designed that you lose to this fight. You can win, but
You face Genichiro Akira.
it is a very difficult fight. It is actually, yes, it is possible to win, but don't expect to, and don't feel bad if you don't. If you do end up losing. Genichiro is a very seasoned warrior, as you can tell, with lots of very powerful moves, and kind of throws you right to the wolves to start the game and gives you quite a formidable foe to take on. I'm just going to let him kill me here. And there goes our arm.
Is that all the shinobi has to offer? The divine heir will be coming with me.
All right. So, as it turns out, if you win the fight, you still get your arm cut off. So nothing changes in that regard. You will still find yourself in this same exact situation.
What is this?
So you're awake. Looks like death is not your fate, just yet.
All right. The Shinobi prosthetic. So we have our prosthetic arm. The artificial arm of a shinobi passed down by the sculptor, a replica of a human arm fitted with a variety of mechanisms apparently designed with modification in mind. While it bears a number of cuts and is stained thick with blood and oil, it has been impeccably maintained. Okay, so this is the sculptor. He is the one who saved us from after that ill-fated battle with Genichiro, and he serves as our guide and mentor throughout the game. He gives us a lot of advice and helps us quite a bit, and obviously saved our life here. If you look at him closely, you can notice that he also has only one arm. And as the game goes on, we'll learn more and more about this character. Let's go ahead and talk to him.
What do you call yourself? Your eyes, the eyes of a wolf who has failed in his duties. Or so it seems to me.
That is not your concern.
Spoken like a true shinobi. I must carve the Buddha. You do what you will.
Why am I here?
All I did was drag you here. Didn't even know if I was dragging a corpse. Couldn't let you get eaten by a pack of wild dogs.
How long was I asleep?
Some time has passed since I found you.
I see.
However, your master yet lives. He's being held prisoner in Ashina Castle. They will soon make use of his bloodline. Looking at you, I'm sure you appreciate the value it has.
Okay, so we are kind of in a very similar position to when the game started. We are in a bad situation, and Kuro is captured and in the hands of Genichiro. So we are kind of back to square one in terms of trying to get back to him and save him. All right, so let's find out about our prosthetic.
My left arm. What did you do to me?
That is what I call the shinobi prosthetic. A fitting fang for a one-armed wolf. Useless when it comes to carving Buddha, though. You can have it.
Shinobi prosthetic.
It is no mere replacement for your lost arm. Come to me if you find any shinobi tools.
Shinobi tools. I see. For this device.
You catch on quick. If you bring me shinobi tools, I'll find a way to fit them to the shinobi prosthetic. Then you'll come to appreciate its worth. I've said too much. Go now.
Okay, so the prosthetic is one of the things that is very unique about this game. As you progress through the game, you'll get more and more attachments or modifications that serve different purposes and functions that you can equip to your prosthetic arm. Right now, we don't have any of those, but it is very unique and lends itself to a lot of different play styles and capabilities depending on what you end up liking to use. And finally,
what did you mean when you said they'll make use of his bloodline?
I don't know much about him, except the dragon's heritage. There's a special kind of blood by that name, and that blood runs through your master's veins.
So the divine heir.
Someone's after him. Might be that the strange things happening to your body have something to do with that.
Okay. So that is about it. The thing about the sculptor is he was actually once a brave warrior, and now he is just carving over and over a bunch of Buddha statues. Look at this collection. Quite a few. As I said, we will learn more about him as the game goes on. And with that being said...
You're quite the strange one. Yet other peculiar visitors have come to this temple. There's one in the clearing to the right of the gate leading off the temple grounds. Two strangers in strange circumstances. You two might get along.
Okay. So what he's referring to is there is a guy over here who is basically a practice dummy. He goes over the basics of combat and gives you an opportunity to use the different techniques to your heart's content until you feel like you've got them down. So let's give him a visit.
Never seen you before. Your name? Won't tell me. But you do have the look of a skilled shinobi. A shinobi. Or perhaps... Sir, please heed my humble request. Face me in battle. Damn. Still alive.
So this guy's actually immortal. You can kill him over and over again, and he always comes back. Let's talk to him again.
That swordsmanship. It was a thing to behold. Few have managed to kill me in such a thorough manner. What are you? Some call it undying. Others, infested. I can't die, so I just am. How about you? What brings you to a rundown temple like this? Seems you have a lot on your mind. Say, why don't you use me for some sword practice? Might come in handy for whatever your mission is. A warm body that can't die might prove useful to you. I volunteer mine. Well?
Okay. So this is actually completely optional. You can accept or refuse, or you can just skip by this guy altogether if you feel like you have it down and don't really want to spend time honing in your skills. Just for the sake of doing everything in this game, I will show all of the things that he has to offer.
Let's go. They say swinging one sword is a cure for boredom.
Okay, so we have 3 different tutorials, just attacking, swinging our sword, basically, deflecting, and how to go about that and the timing and how that affects the combat in this game, and then also the dodging system. So we'll just go through all 3 of these from the top.
I stand as your opponent.
Okay, a shinobi aims to break an opponent's posture. Attacking an enemy is one way to achieve this. An enemy with broken posture is vulnerable to a shinobi death blow. So our goal here is just to perform 3 death blows after breaking posture, and then R1 to attack. So basically you can just spam R1 until it gives you the opportunity to death blow. This basically is like the very early game enemies that you can basically spam R1 and get the death blow. Not much to it. Just gives you a feel for how to swing your sword. Let's get a feel for it. Okay, so let's do the deflect tutorial.
In that case, I stand as your opponent.
Sometimes relentless attack is not enough to break an enemy's posture. Deflecting an enemy's attacks also damages their posture, and a master shinobi will both deflect and attack. Deflect enemy attacks and perform 3 death blows. There we go, there's the first one.
Face me again. Face me again.
Alrighty.
Excellent.
Easy for me, but might take a while to get the hang of if you're new to the game. One thing I want to point out is there is a difference between deflecting and blocking, and I'm going to show you that right now. So a deflect is just a tap of the L1 button, and that has to do with timing, and then the deflect is what will add to your enemy's posture gauge. There's also a block mechanic, which means you can just hold the L1 button down, and you will still block your enemy's attacks. They're not going to hit you, and you're not going to take damage, provided you have sufficient enough posture yourself, because Sekiro, we have a posture bar, and that is actually, if you pay attention towards the bottom of the screen, our posture bar during combat is at the bottom of the screen. And if you block, you will do no damage to their posture, and you will not take damage, but what will happen is you will lose some of your posture, and as once your posture bar is filled up, then they will break your posture, and you'll be vulnerable to attack as well. So you can hold the L1 button down just to block, and your posture gauge will increase. If you tap at just the right time and get a deflect, you will hurt their posture and also take no damage. And then another thing is some people have the tendency just to want to spam L1 to try to get deflects. If you spam L1, basically the game is just going to interpret that as a block, and you're not going to get a deflect if you spam L1. As tempting as it may be, you really have to learn the rhythm of the game, learn the rhythm of your opponent, and get those deflects down at the right time for it to count the way that you want it to count. And it's different for every enemy and every boss. You just kind of got to get a feel for it. So let's do the last tutorial here.
You may use... In that case, I stand as your opponent.
So this goes over the dodge mechanic. If you hit the circle button, then that serves as a dodge. So pretty much it's a sidestep sort of deal, and it is another way to avoid getting hit as opposed to deflecting. The goal with the dodge is to sidestep and then to punish their attack with actually doing vitality damage as opposed to posture damage, so decreasing their health bar rather than doing posture damage. And there's some instances where you would want to do that in the heat of combat, and there's some instances where maybe you'd want to focus more on posture. It really depends on the scenario and whatever the context is would say would be the better approach. So this particular tutorial, we're going to do step dodges. So instead of getting hit, we're going to sidestep and get an attack in on him.
Yeah.
So sidestep, attack. Oh, he's trying to grab us. Sidestep, attack, sidestep, attack.
Face me again.
One more. All right. So this game really is all about timing. I like to say it's almost a rhythm game, really.
About our training. I think it's about time we tried something closer to a real fight. Don't you? Come at me with the intent to kill. No better way to prepare for the real thing. What's wrong?
Why do you go to such lengths?
Half to pass the time, and the other half, well, I want to loosen that furrowed brow of yours. All right. Enough talk. Let's begin.
All right, so now we can basically just spar with them, and if you want to put all of those skills to use in just kind of a more normal combat scenario, you have the freedom to do so.
Come back whenever you like. If you have techniques to try out, I'm at your disposal.
Okay, so what I was saying before is, I mean, this kind of brings me back to my Guitar Hero days. It really is about understanding just kind of the rhythm of combat and picking up on those visual cues of knowing what to do and kind of learning how enemies attack you and how you can best respond to different types of combat situations. And it really is it's a beautiful dance. But it does take some practice, but it is so worth it and rewarding once you get the hang of it. So this is our grappling hook tutorial. So one of the things about a prosthetic arm is that it does have a grappling hook attached to it from the start. And this allows you to grab onto faraway objects and pull yourself up to them. Use the L2 button to grapple. So you see these circles, that indicates that a grapple point is nearby. Once it turns green, that means you can actually grapple to it. So you can press L2 standing, or you can jump and press L2, and then you'll move right on over to it. So this adds another element that is kind of unique to this game as opposed to the other From Software Miyazaki titles, that adds a vertical component to exploration, which I think is a welcome addition and really opens up the world quite a bit more and gives you more options. So here we are at the Ashina outskirts. And I think, actually, I want to go back and check something before we move on, because I think after all that, I forgot to do something. So this is a idol, Sculptor's Idol, and these serve as our checkpoints in the game. And so here we have the menu. As we go through the game, we're going to get more options in this menu. Right now, our only option is to rest. So if you've, for example, used your healing gourd, you can rest and it restores your usages of the healing gourd. And there's some other things you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. We'll get to that as it becomes more relevant to the gameplay. And these serve as your checkpoints. You can warp back and forth between them. And this is one of the things that's very similar to Souls games. These basically serve as your bonfire, or if you're referring back to Bloodborne, kind of your lantern. If you rest, it respawns all normal enemies. No mini bosses and bosses do not respawn, but pretty much all your normal enemies will respawn every time you rest. So that is a very central element of the gameplay here. So let's jump up and grab on, hop up, and go back to where we just were. I'm going to grapple on over here, and then right here we have our second idol. So let's go ahead and activate it. And now that we have two idols active, we can choose to travel. So you can travel freely between any idol that you have unlocked in the game. And, it's very handy to keep in mind the best way to get back and forth through different locations. So this is our first area, wide open area that we truly get to explore. I'm going to start by going up here, and we're going to get a bunch of items. So this is Ungo Sugar. This is essentially what it is a defensive buff. You can throw it on as a consumable, and It acts as a buff to your defense for a limited period of time. Temporarily reduces vitality damage taken from physical attacks. Bite the candy and take the Ungo stance to impart its inhuman benediction. By doing so, you endure the excess karma of man from the spirits within. Sinpo monks spread this candy across Ashina in honor of her military heroes. So quite useful, especially if you find yourself in a challenging fight. It might just be the little kick you need to get the edge on your opponent. This guy, just a regular enemy. You can see he's not wearing the hat, so I'm just going to mash R1 and get the kill. This is how to acquire loot. So when you kill enemies, they will have money, and in some case, item drops for you to acquire. In order for you to actually acquire it after getting the kill, you have to hold down the square button, or whatever button is relative to square on your controller, and it basically sucks in all of the loot that you can acquire from your enemy that you just defeated. So this guy's got the hat, so that means I'm gonna have to oh, I guess not. Normally those guys you have to get 2 hits in and then you do a deflect, but I got away with one there. So we have ceramic shards. These basically just serve as a distraction. You can throw them across, and if it'll land on the ground or on a wall, and it'll get an enemy's attention, and sometimes you can sneak up on them and get a death blow. I don't really ever use them, but some of you might like to experiment with them. So there's some more ceramic shards. If you look down here, you can drop down, and we have Akko's sugar. So this is the attack buff version of the sugar. Bite this candy, take the Akko stance to impart its inhuman benediction. The spirits embody excess karma. One must bite down hard on the candy to endure what has been brought to pass. To boost attack power for a limited time. So also very handy in difficult fights. So there should be a grappling point we can get to from up here. Let's move back on over here. There should be a few more enemies and items. So there's some guys over there. I'm actually going to climb up here. And one thing is with these roofs, you can generally hang on to them. So if you jump and press square, you can just grab on. Even though it's not a grappling point, you can still pull yourself up just by hanging from the ledge. So you pull yourself up. We can scoot on over on this roof. And you see there's guys down there. So I'm going to demonstrate a new tactic. You can actually lock onto this guy. If you jump off the roof, you'll see that I get a red circle. So that means I can perform a death blow. I'm in stealth right now, so it doesn't even know that I'm here. So I can jump off and perform kind of a death from above death blow. So now I blow my cover. This guy knows I'm here. And again, yeah, he's the guy that I need to do a deflect on. There we go. Got him. And the dogs. Is there another one that's going to come after me? Okay, there's another enemy down here. He's just a regular guy, so I'm just going to beat up on him the usual way. And some more Ungo sugar for the defensive buff. And let's see. We can climb up here, use our grapple hook to get up on top of the roof. And there's another guy that we're going to come up behind and get a stealth death blow on. There we go. Got the deflect. And all is well. So we got this guy down here. Just going to beat up on him. Take care of him. And get this item, which is a pellet. I believe these are the last items in this little area here. So we are moving along. Let's go through here. Yep, some more dogs. You can actually do deflects on these guys too, and it'll give you an opportunity to do a death blow right away if you get a perfect deflect on them. So pretty much the point where they jump at you, to bite you, to lunge at you and bite you, that's when you pull the deflect, get your death blow. right, so we got an item down here, some ceramic shards. And let's see, is there anything over on this side? I can't remember. Nope, looks like that's going to be it for now. So we can pull ourselves up on this roof and go up over here. And you'll see we have a rooster. You got to respect these roosters. They actually, I've been pecked to death more times than I would like to admit, unfortunately. And so before we hit up this area, there's actually a sculptor's idol down here that I want to activate. And so here we have another checkpoint. And, you know, this is the travel menu. So you can see we can travel between the dilapidated temple, which is pretty much our hub world, if you want to call it that. It's where the sculptor is. And so we'll be traveling back there quite a few times, as you'll see. And, of course, we have these two Ashina outskirts checkpoints. So that's pretty much the basics of how that works. And as I said, as we go through the game, we'll have more options of what we can do with these idols as we progress. But I think this would be a good place for us to stop for now. So we're going to go on and cut it here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has been super helpful to you. I can't wait to get to the rest of this game. This game is incredible. It's top tier. I believe it was Game of the Year for 2019. So this is going to be quite a journey. Looking forward to it. And hope you guys tune in for the whole thing. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and join the squad by subscribing to the channel and leave a like and a comment. I'd love to interact with you guys. If you have anything that you're having trouble with or want more explanation of, feel free to leave a comment, and I'd be happy to let you know what would be good to do. So anyways, stay tuned. I'll see you around. Take care.